So today we're going to talk about snow operations, and we're here at Public Works, and this is Joel Van Essen, our Public Works Director, and he's going to take us on a tour a little bit of the facility, and we're going to talk about a few different things.
So we have 500 lane miles that we have to plow every year. So we break up the map into 22 zones from the north to the south.
And I'm going to point out that on this map, there are a lot of streets that we don't do, like LaGrange Road, like Harlem, yes, like 153rd in spots, 159th, places that are either state roads or county roads or township roads.
So I highly recommend, if you go to the village website, you can, under the snow, you can see different jurisdiction map of the roads. That breaks what the mayor mentioned into who maintains those roads between the county, IDOT with the state, and then our roads. There's also private roads too.
And I think something that's important too is that often the mayor's office gets complaints about and says, well, you guys could go ahead and plow it. Here's the problem. If we drop a plow on LaGrange Road or we drop a plow on 159th Street and there's any damage to those streets, it doesn't matter when it happened during the year, who are they going to hold responsible for it? Right? They're going to hold us responsible for it, and we don't want that. So that's why we don't do that. Let's go take a look at the snow operations. So I'm here with Andy Folkerts, who's our fleet manager for Public Works. And this is our garage where we maintain all of our vehicles. And it's really important during snow season because if something breaks down, we want somebody to get back on the road right away. So they're very busy during that time fixing things that happen, hydraulic issues, any kind of issues like that. So Andy, why don't you tell us a little about what you guys do during the snow plowing portion of the operation?
Before we get into the snow plowing operations, we want to talk about preventative maintenance. We've already begun getting snow equipment ready, so we kind of have a head start on all of that. During snow operations, in between operations, we're going over vehicles, we're working with the operators to see if there's any issues that we have to fix. In between the storms, making sure we do our due diligence to make sure that the equipment's ready for the next event.
And how many people do we typically have working during a snow event, just in case something happens, so that we can get things back on?
We have 4 available mechanics. They do have overlapping shifts, and then we split them up between AM and PM teams.
So Andy took us out to look at a new truck that just came in, and he had some very good points. So Andy, why don't you tell us a little bit about the important features on this? So
we're basically standardizing drivetrain across our fleet, but we're going with a Pekau chassis, which is Peterbilt or Kenworth, Cummins engine, Allison transmission, and then also the stainless steel body with the V-box insert. The stainless steel will hold up a lot longer with a lot less maintenance than the standard carbon steel bodies.
Well, thanks again, Andy. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So Joel and I came down to our snow operations center, if you will, where we have all of these screens up. And Joel's going to tell you a little bit about how things work during our snow event.
Yeah, during a snow, obviously we're preparing for the snow ahead of time. But by doing that preparing, we look at the weather. We also do tracking our snowplows. And this allows us to see where they're plowing, how often they have been in the routes, and it's a good communication tool.
And one of the things that's important for this is it's not only important for the ongoing operation, it's also important for training, because we actually have GPSs on the vehicle and we know when they were on certain streets, what time they're in front of your house, to the second. We know exactly where they were. And that's important because we do get, as you can imagine, the mayor's office gets a lot of complaints from people sometimes that say you've never plowed, when in fact we just maybe plowed early in the snowstorm or something like that. So we have all that information.
The mayor mentioned that when you zoom into your local area where your house is at, you can actually see blue lines of when the plow went through. And it actually has a time stamp on that, on when the plow came through, and you can actually see how often, because actually the blue lines will start to fade.
Joel, one of the other things that we do, and I know because I used to do this, is we have contractors. Could you tell us a little bit about the contracting program?
Yes, the village has 22 routes, but there's many locations where there's dead ends and cul-de-sacs. And so we utilize the contractors to help support large events, usually over 2 inches, to help clean up those courts.
It does take, some of those routes take 8 hours to get done, so it's something for people in cul-de-sacs to realize. This goes to all the villages, that it takes time to get through if it's a big snow, so you have to be patient. And we don't start plowing right when the snow starts, right? Because otherwise you're cleaning an empty street. So, so why don't you talk a little bit about that, about when we call people out and how we work that?
Yeah, looking at the forecast of snow, we're projecting based on the weather data of when we should call our folks back in. Obviously, they live in a variety of areas and they have to come in, so we provide enough time for them to come, but also to allow some of the snow to be on the street, so when they get into the routes that they're actually pushing snow.
Well, Joel, thank you very much for taking the time to be with us
you,
today
Mayor.
and give
Come
the
on down.
residents information.